What's up, family? Welcome back to the Stop Sinking Show, where we go from struggle to flow. Anytime I have seen or been part of a relationship, a conversation, or a situation that went south, that went awry, that didn't go well, obviously a lot of different factors are at play. Communication issues, misunderstandings. But if I was to try to boil it down to one thing that underpins a lot of this thinking that leads there, it would come down to our need to deduce everything down to right or wrong. It is this thinking in absolutes that tries to encompass the complexity of something into an oversimplified perspective of right and wrong. Unfortunately, there are very few things in life that are absolutely right or wrong. And the fact that our primitive brain tries to resolve everything into these two buckets causes more issues than anything else I can think of at the moment. How can we be so sure that there is a right or wrong to something in the first place? Maybe there's two rights. Maybe both are wrong. Maybe there is a right and a right for you. The problem with this thinking is that it ends conversations and ends progress. It doesn't begin them. When someone leads to or steers any resolution or discussion into seeking what is right or wrong, it takes away the ability to have a nuanced discussion. It takes away the ability to have understanding for each other and what unique perspective another person can bring. Maybe they mean something, feel something, believe something that I could never know unless I open myself up to the exchange. So many times I have seen this thinking be weaponized in a way to end conversations. From the victim mentality person who ends conversations by saying, okay, I'm wrong, you're right, do you want me to say sorry? I'm sorry. To the other end of the spectrum where the person thinks that there's no possibility for them to ever be wrong and they have to be right, and then refuses to believe the other person can have any valid feelings or perspective if it doesn't neatly resolve to them being proven right. Either way, just the simplification is an ode paid to the demands of our ego, which needs to come to black and white clarity on how to treat something. It needs clear and possible things to identify with. Friend or foe, safe or unsafe, team or opposition, mine or yours. Without this clarity, the ego loses its footing. It can't demand other ways for you to behave then unless you make the decision, the clear black and white decision, and are pushed to one side or the other side. There is no nuance for the ego. It puts itself above all else, and it needs to know how you feel, needs you to decide one way or the other. It can't stay in nuance. I often think about what the world would be, what your relationships would be, if you completely lived to the dictates of your ego and elevated only yourself to the utmost importance. If it was just about me, and me, you could not coexist with any other human being. If you could not see that how the sum of all of the parts is greater than the individual parts themselves, that you plus someone else is like 1 + 1 = 3, that it is actually a strength, but requires for you to put yourself below the union. Put yourself below the union. If you couldn't see this, and if you propagated this opposite thinking and more people thought just about themselves, we would soon go extinct. And I get that you got to look out for you because no one else will. But you also got to know that on some level you are safe and don't need to self-preserve so much. And that if you put that guard down and put a union of two above the needs of one, that you might actually be more durable together to the whims and whips of life. But for that, you have to put yourself second to the whole. And we just can't seem to do that in moments where our egos are triggered and our humanity is forgotten. And those moments make or break the possibility of that ever happening. How you handle those moments, yourself in those moments. If it's all about you and it's me and me from the other person, then there can be no path forward to peace together. Only distance. and downhill. Not everything resolves to right or wrong. And many times, what could be an agreed upon right of the merger, their partnership of two, could be much more elevated than what is individually deemed right. Still, though, we're still talking about right or wrong. But even those concepts don't exist. It's a concept. What is right or wrong? Just a bunch of words from ideas that separate us. There is no right. There is no wrong. There just is. It is. And the isness of something doesn't need labels. They are valid because they are. Because it exists. Because it is felt. Because it is. In the words of Rumi, let's meet in the field. Out beyond ideas of wrongdoing and right doing, there is a field. I'll meet you there. I love you, family. Stay true always. I'll see you on the next show.